Welcome back. So we have some changes to the schedule because we just had to move stuff around to make sure we got everybody in. So the guys from Marshall that were supposed to be here at 1:30, that's going to be Samsung because we had that little thing that happened earlier. And so now we have the guys from Marshall where we're going to talk about their new handset. So welcome and thank you very much for joining our live stream.
Thank you.
Cool.
Yeah, they like busted it across the massive fair to make it here. So hats off to you.
Thank you. We could navigate.
It's a big fair.
It is. It is. Totally.
So, before we dive into the phone, let's talk about the Marshall parties that have been happening here at IFA. Tell us about your excessively large hangovers.
Yeah, well, we had a massive party on Friday.
So obvious.
We had Cadaver, German band playing, and then we had Courtney Love performing with Glenn Matlock from Sex Pistols. And who were backing them up? What was the name of that band? Jod?
Yeah,
like Zeitung Heisner or something. I don't know.
I was trying not to fall over in the mosh pit. So.
Yeah, and then we had a after party on our bus, which been following us. Yeah, we have this black double-decker.
You see, he's a rocker and I'm a geek, so it's a lot harder to party with them. You know? I have to go home early before things.
Yeah, and last night we were supposed to have an early dinner, and I got in bed at 3 something. So.
Rock and roll.
You know, this is the thing that happens during IFA. I mean, this is just the way that it goes. And like Marshall's just well known for music, so you guys just have to party.
You have
to party, or else it's just people.
Yeah, it's in our work description.
It's in your work description. Is there like a drinking test in order to apply?
Well, you have to be drunk when you apply for the job, of course.
Oh,
no, just kidding.
No, I'm kidding.
No.
Yeah. All right, so IFA, you guys have. Actually, at Showstoppers, so we met, and for whatever reason, Michael from Pocket Now, who's going to be on later, he chose not to touch the phone. And so me, being like a very respectful Canadian, was like, oh, well, if he's not touching the phone, I won't be pushy because obviously, because why wouldn't you want to touch it?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you want to touch it? So I just thought that's just the way it is. And then afterwards, he's like, no, of course you can touch the phone because it's actually incredibly rugged.
It is. I mean,
it is. So why don't you guys kind of give us a walkthrough of the phone and just kind of give us an idea, or maybe the design philosophy first while we get set up to go for close-up.
Well, the design philosophy is, the easy way for us would have been to buy like an OEM phone from an Asian manufacturer and slap our logotype on it. But we decided to do it the hard way, and it was kind of hard.
Yeah, built from scratch. I mean, I think everyone's been doing like 330-hour months. I mean, weekends. What's weekends?
Yeah, what weekends?
So, I mean, the thing about smartphones, and when I was talking to you a few days ago, you're absolutely right, that people buy a really thin phone and then they slap this whatever case onto it.
Yeah.
But you guys have actually built the phone just to be built.
We wanted it to have Marshall's DNA. It should, when you first look at the phone, you should be able to see that this is a Marshall. And so you have the white piping around the screen, which also can be found on the amplifiers and on their speaker stacks. You have the brass details. Oh, my.
Yeah.
And
I'm spinning for you.
Yeah, and then you have that nice texture on the side that kind of keeps it from slipping out of your hand. I mean,
so you have like quite a good grip on the handset here. And what is this really?
That's the volume.
That's the volume.
That's the volume.
So it's a nice tactile feel. You've got 36 points of volume. So if you're using
you messed up my tagline. I usually say that this phone, it doesn't go to 11, it goes to 36 because more is more.
Oh, this is Twitch. You can't edit it,
Oh.
All right. So why don't I just go through the UI here, and you can tell me a little bit about what's going on.
Okay. So we try to keep it as stock as possible, and this is to be able to get the best possible performance. But also, we didn't want to bog down the phone with a lot of extra software that would slow it down. So we've kept things to the bare minimum. We removed a lot of the junk and cheesy content you will sometimes find on a standard Android phone. So this is very much curated by Marshall to make sure that the tones, the backgrounds, the colors, everything kind of matches the brand.
Let me show you how the music interface works. if it's possible for you to move into my phone.
Because you guys have actually designed your own custom software to go along with it, even though you've kind of kept a stock Android feel.
Yeah, I mean it's a mix. You know, for certain software we've done everything in house. But when it came to some of the more complicated, we worked with some of the best developers in Android, and we did collaborations where we work with people that are really experts in their field.
Can you use your mic? So the whole point with this phone is, you know, we wanted the music to be on the main stage, and so this button up here, the M button, when you press it, you get access to all your different music players. So this is Spotify, and I could just press here, and I could choose like my local files, and they should start playing. But of course, they don't start playing because it's a demo, and I'm on Twitch right now, so something screwed up.
It's bizarre. That's never even happened. This whole demo. So.
Yeah, but anyway, so you press, and you get access to all your different music players, and you also have a global equalizer, or a system-wide equalizer, and that's, you know, we have a dedicated sound card in this phone. So all music is going through the sound card, and that means we can apply equalizer to it. And if you use an app that doesn't have an equalizer, you still will get an equalizer through with this phone. And you know, you have the different presets, but you could also set your own, have your own settings, and you can save them.
So I was at the Sony booth, and they released a new Walkman, which I always love kind of catching up on, like Walkmans. I love the dedicated music players. Totally. And I remember my audio cassette player that I had back in the day. And one of the things that I didn't believe it until I heard it was Sony's new Walkman will take regular resolution music and make it high res. And I thought, but you can't create like bit rates, bit rates out of nothing, right? So what's your kind of take on that and putting that onto like a device? Are you guys doing this type of thing, or?
You can play FLAC files. You can play lossless audio on this phone. You can basically play any type of audio format except for Windows Media Audio. And we figured nobody would ever miss that.
No need to mention that, yeah.
So I mean we you know, we understand the fundamentals behind that technology, using post-processing to make curves smoother. But you know, with Marshall, it's very much about pure sound. So you know, for the launch device, we wanted to make sure that the reference sound was really good, and then you can start applying filters on top to try and enhance the music. But you know, the golden ears at Marshall are very specific, that they want the playback to be true to the recording. And I mean, you know, through the development of this phone, we looked at a lot of kind of spatialization, enhancement technologies, but there was also a feeling that it's a very fine line, because sometimes if you over-enhance music, you actually start not losing fidelity, but it doesn't really sound the same anymore. So it's a very difficult thing between where is it gimmicky and where is it being reference sound. So for this device, we really looked at reference sound, having a really good signal-to-noise ratio, so you have a clean sound stage. And then from that point on, you can start adding enhancements. But the basic level has to be high quality for those technologies to work.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I could hear the difference when I was using their Walkman, but like just in the back of my mind, I know that you can't create something out of nothing. No. You know.
No. But I mean, there's amazing math, and you know, the process has become so powerful that now you can do some on-the-fly things. You know?
So let's talk a little bit about the top of the phone, because we have the dedicated button that launches the music player, but then there's also two audio jacks.
Yes. So
Tell me what's going on here.
So we think you want to share your music. And you see kids today sitting on the bus, sitting on a train, and they share
like one headphone.
One headphone each.
Oh yeah.
And so we decided to make it a lot easier. So there's two headphone jacks, and you also have separate volume controls for each one of them.
Oh, okay.
And there are also inputs. So if you wanted to connect two microphones to it, you could totally do that also.
So the separate separate headphone, where
the
volume happens on the app.
Well, it happens. I mean, it gets controlled through the app, but of course it gets run by our sound card. So we have a discrete hi-fi grade sound card inside the phone, and that gives us the functionality to be able to have these multiple audio channels. So, you know, like I think it's.
Do you have a pair of headphones on you? with you?
No,
No?
only
Okay.
have-
It's like-
I think you took mine. You took 2 of mine.
And lost them
already.
at the Courtney Love concert, huh? No, but that's really interesting because you've seen a lot of smartphone makers come out with things like DJ software where they can like, you know.
Oh, we have that too.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, you have that too.
Yeah.
And it's so curious because
But it makes sense for you guys because you do have the two inputs and outputs.
Exactly, and I think the cool thing about that is you can DJ out of your pocket. I mean, at the moment, if with one jack, if you wanted to have something where you could connect your headphones and pre-cue or listen what you wanted to before the time, you needed a special cable. So it's not like you're just going to pull out your phone and start DJing it with it. So we think this might be more approachable to consumers that maybe haven't DJed before, because you don't have to be so professional to get started. So when we launched this phone, we were a bit scared that if we make it too musician oriented at the start, a normal person that kind of likes the rock aesthetic or is a little bit alternative will feel like, wow, I can't buy this phone if I don't have tattoos or play guitar. So the focus initially was to really push the music enjoyment features, and then over the next 3 to 6 months we'll reveal a lot of kind of the production musician tools, because it's so obvious that musicians want this. So that's not the crowd that we really need to convince. They want it. It's really to make the person that's maybe not that musically inclined feel that, wow, I can actually get value out of this phone.
And it's not a rock and roll phone, it's a music phone.
Yeah, it has a bit of rock and roll attitude, but I think, these days if you go to like a Jay-Z concert, he's got Marshall stacks behind him. So I think the idea of rock has kind of pervaded different genres. And I mean, of course, there's different EQs you can set. So I mean, we have a backstage community for people that have the phone where you can select the genres that you're into. So if you live in Tallahassee and you really like hip-hop, we will give you information about hip-hop events in Tallahassee. We won't be like, no, you have to go to the Metallica concert, because that's the only thing we support.
We were actually talking at the stand. You had one of the phones where the back was off.
Yeah. Should we show you guys the...
Can you?
Yes, we can.
Woohoo! Phone teardown right here live on the show. And one of the interesting things I didn't know about a lot of this, that it's so difficult to get graphics printed on batteries.
Oh yeah, I mean, I can promise you there will be no battery coming out of the east with a photographic picture on it for the next 5 to 6 years, because we really tried to, we wanted to print a nice Marshall stack in the background with the text over. This totally
blew their minds.
Broke the whole factory.
Broke the whole factory.
Sure
so can you tell us about the specifications of the handset while you kind of have it? So
it's a 2,500 milliampere battery. So I think you have talk time up to 12 hours. You have up to 55 hours of music playback over headphones. Up to 30 hours if you use the dual speakers.
And you do have a micro SD card slot there.
Yes, we do. Yeah, and
that's
we now
great.
officially support 128 gigabytes.
Perfect. So you can fit all of your music on there. Don't have to worry about running out of space.
Yeah, and you can have you can put 3 or 4 cards, so you can swap them in and out as you need. If you have a huge FLAC library of 200 gigs of music.
All right. So what about the other phone specifications? What about the camera, the processor, display?
So of course, I mean
it takes pictures.
It does.
Pictures.
I mean, it has to be a competent Android phone apart from the music feature. So when it came to the chipset, we chose the Snapdragon 410.
Perfect.
There was the 610 and the 810 also. But when we weighed up the cost versus battery performance versus heat, the 410 kind of shined, because at the end of the day, because we have a separate sound card that's doing a lot of the processing, and because we keep our phone quite free from bloatware, we actually get amazing performance out of the device. So the chip is a 64-bit quad-core chip. It has almost no thermal issues compared to its bigger brothers, and it gives us excellent battery time. So at the end of the day, if I'm sitting with my wife on the train. She has a phone that on paper completely should blow away this phone, but the experience scrolling through websites and using the internet is actually much better on this device. So I think the specs are important to be able to judge the device, but I think the experience of using the device is actually where it's at. So I mean, I've been using this phone as my primary phone for 6 to 8 months, and I've never experienced where I felt the phone was too slow for me.
Awesome. Well, no, I mean there definitely has been a lot of issues around the Snapdragon 810 processor. It is catching a lot of heat.
Good pun.
I can't help myself with the puns sometimes.
That's why they pay you the big bucks. You know?
Yeah, but I mean the Snapdragon 410 processor is perfectly fine for any kind of standard performance, especially if you do want to have the longer battery life.
Yeah, and also, you know, it's a 4.7 inch screen with 720p, so you know you're not pushing that many pixels, so it's quite power efficient.
Absolutely.
And then people ask us, you know, why didn't you put a 1080p screen in it? You know, and when we were doing the initial component selection, we had a 720p screen and a 1080p screen.
Nobody could see the
4.7 inch, you could not.
On 4.7 inch, I mean, if you're going for the spec hounds, for sure, you put in a 1080p Retina. Oh my God, 450 PPI.
And your graphics run half the speed.
Yeah,
correct,
and then you can't open any apps quickly. No, I mean, there is a difference between making a flagship phone to compete with other flagship phones, right? But you guys aren't a smartphone company looking to put out a flagship product. You're just looking to put out a product for people.
I think also,
you know what I mean? Like just real people, just normal.
And I think because this is Marshall, I mean we can focus on a niche of the market where maybe the other manufacturers have to please everyone, you know. So because we did a niche kind of focused device, we could kind of tailor it for performance.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't have to have so many apps pre-installed so that, you know, so I think keeping it clean and keeping it simple keeps it easy for consumers at the start.
Going
also
with vanilla Android is also something that everybody always wants to see and no one ever does, because like we need to differentiate, we need our own UI, and everyone's like, oh, I hate Samsung's UI, right? And so like it's one of those things where I think it's a very smart move for you to do that, and then just to put in the high-end audio stuff. I mean, if we look at HTC, they were one of the few smartphone manufacturers that put solid front-facing speakers in, and it kind of captured that audience.
Yeah.
Right, and then HTC, like though their flagship phone couldn't compete with other flagship phones, their boom sound speakers at the mid-range, they actually proved that people don't care about specs. They care more about fashion and then the experience feature. Yeah. Right, so HTC's mid-range line is actually doing great.
Yeah. If you look at how portable computers have developed over the years, I mean, they were just like spec race. They wanted, you know, they put dual graphic cards into portables, into notebooks, and you know, processors that was just running faster and warmer and all that. And then it just turned around. You know, people wanted battery life instead. Yeah. You know, that's what they're going for.
If you can't use your phone, what's the point in having it?
Yeah, absolutely.
All these great features that I can't even turn it on.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, I just wanted to say, like, everybody's talking about this being like a niche product, but I mean, the market we're looking for is people who like music,
which is everybody almost. Yeah.
So there's tons. I mean, it might be a niche phone, but the market we're aiming for it's huge. It's massive.
You know, so Josh from Android Authority, who's going to be on later, him and I were talking about, well, his sleeper video from the show, which he didn't expect to be such a hit, and it was you guys.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because he was like, I am surprised how many views and I'm like, I'm waiting for them to come onto the live stream.
I mean, you know, like when we started talking about the phone with operator manufacturers, they just could not believe that Marshall could make a phone, you know. And I think in the beginning, you know, people didn't really believe that we were doing this until they actually saw and felt the phone and heard it and used it, you know. So I mean, for us, I think we had a lot of kind of underdog energy, where we'd be like, you know what, we're just going to show you guys what we think a phone should be like. And I mean, a lot of us we have a lot of experience in the mobile industry, and you know, we're just tired of seeing people making the same mistakes over and over.
It's getting boring.
And not listening to users and not having a vision to stick to, you know. So I think that's what kind of puts us apart, is that, you know, the team is quite small, but it's very focused, very passionate. And I mean, we really care about what the consumers think about the phone. So because we all are quite consumer orientated, we use it ourselves. I mean, we want to take out a product that we want to be super proud of.
So.
And we all like music.
And you all like music.
Yeah.
So you were one of the main one of the developers for the handset.
Yes.
And you were working at Marshall before, or did it?
I've actually worked on and off with the I mean, the company behind Marshall is Zone Industries. So, I mean, we've worked with them for quite a few years, especially on first-to-market things, because when you're doing R&D and you're doing a first product, you need people that are capable of basically saying goodbye to their lives for a year or two. And for that, you need someone that's really excited about it. So, you know, they chose people that were willing to go the extra mile so that we could keep the team small, but still bring it out within a year, you know.
That's really amazing. So the other thing that I wanted to mention, just before you run away, the one thing that I wanted to mention was when you told me that this white feature around the front
do the crash
wasn't
test.
White piping.
The white piping.
the white piping. So this isn't only a design feature; it's actually raised up the side of the display, right? So if the phone falls face down, the display won't be damaged.
Zero impact. Yeah.
Zero impact. I mean, I can smash it against the floor, but maybe I'll let
There's
you.
going to have to be a rock on the floor.
There's going to have to be a rock on the
Please
floor or
don't.
something. Live.
Live.
Rock and roll.
Shucks.
Yeah. Yeah, but so, I mean, that was one of the, because I don't know how much money I've spent replacing cracked displays.
And you know, I mean, this is the last thing that I would mention is because the back can peel off. If you drop the phone and it's getting an impact that's too hard, it will break apart. You know, and a lot of the things with the unibody devices is that like it cannot, you know, there's only that much place for the force to go. You know, so you get a lot of kind of breaks on the corners and the edges. But with this one, I mean, it's fiber reinforced polycarbonate, so it's slightly soft. So it also absorbs the impact.
Absorbs some of the impact.
So I mean, in tumble test, this phone has done amazingly well. So
Nice.
I mean, we're very proud of the industrial design.
We also did a volcano test, or you did.
Yeah, I did. About a month before the launch, I lost the phone on an Icelandic volcano slope, black on black, and it only took me 7 hours to find the phone in the rain, in the midnight sun, but the phone was fine by the time I got it, and I still had my job. So.
What were you doing on an Icelandic volcano?
I was running down the slope trying to be enthusiastic on my holiday, and it slipped out of my pocket, but I was having such a good time I didn't really notice. Yeah.
Excellent. So when is this coming out? Where can we get it, and how much is it going to cost? Let's go through these basics. Everyone's going to ask.
You can buy it online, marshallheadphones.com.
Okay.
In UK, we have a Marshall store in Box Park, Shoreditch, where you can get it. The euro price is $549, and the pounds, was it
I'm not quite sure, but
$3.99?
yeah. But I mean, the one thing we should mention,
Wait, I have it.
it does come with headphones that are about 60 euro headphones. So we included really good quality headphones. I mean, we're so tired of like great sounding phone, not so good headphones. I mean, the headphone has to live up to the phone.
500 US, $3.99 pounds.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so actually, Daniel, one of our other guys at Mobile Geeks, he actually has a set of Marshall headphones. So I have been using your headphones over the past few days. Every time I forget mine, I steal his.
Oh, nice. Good.
And actually, it's weird. 2 nights ago, I woke up in the middle of the night and I'm like, where are the Marshall headphones? Literally, I was like, oh my God, did I lose them? Literally, the stuff nightmares are made of for me right now. I don't know why. Dreaming of your products.
I mean, I think we had a lot of nightmares before the launch because just so much stress, like launching a phone for the first time. But I think by now, we're post-launch, stress is over.
Yeah.
Amazing. No, so I do have to congratulate you on this handset. It looks amazing. It feels really good. The audio is nice, and I just love that it has a nice focus on audio, because that's something that a lot of handsets have just forgotten.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
And I think it allows you to have an emotional connection to your phone, you know, and I think that's really important to have something that you actually care about.
All right. So before we take a break, I know that you are a huge fan on Twitch. So if there's anything that you want to say to Twitch.
No, I just want to thank.
Can I say hi to my kids?
Sure.
Hey Dante, hey Reb.
No, I just want to thank Twitch for all the days I've lost watching like StarCraft 2 like championships, you know, like finally I'm on it, you know, for reasons.
Yeah, we're actually very thankful for Twitch for opening up to the geeks, because it was just the gamers before, but now they've kind of allowed us to kind of nerd out on their network as well, so we're pretty happy.
I wonder if we're getting flamed on the chat on the side now.
Well, we have those guys out there possibly taking care of it.
Okay, they're smiling, it looks okay.
Awesome. So we're going to take a quick break for lunch. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks a lot.
So we're going to be jumping to the Jen Huang interview from ASUS. She's actually the lead designer responsible for the entire design aesthetic of ASUS. And then if we have time, we're going to be jumping to some of the Johnny Shi interview. So we're just going to break for a quick lunch and leave you with some of that amazing future technology.